Alright, so if you didn't notice already, world is changing and we're all going towards having smaller devices, more portable, things that we can use every day and not having others to back up for the ones that we already chosen. So if you are into that kind of things, today we're gonna talk about the iPad mini 2021, how this one fits my workflow, how I'm editing photos on it, and what is with all this craziness that you have to go as small as possible. Hey everyone, Chris here, welcome back to the channel, and like I mentioned, today we're talking about this small slab of aluminum called iPad mini 2021. Well, it's not called iPad mini 2021, it's the 6th generation or something like that. But Apple decided to come with this device in September 2021, and a lot of people consider this as a daily driver. I don't like to be driven by machines, but I would say that it is a daily driver for me too. How that works? Let me tell you. First, let's start with the design, and I'm gonna get through all this very fast. It's made out of aluminum. It's a slab of aluminum that retains the same design as the iPhone 12 lineup. It's flat edges and round corners, beautiful one piece of aluminum that feels very nice in hand, and the buttons and everything are Apple style, very stylish and professional, and I do like the way it looks. Now I have the older one, that's my daughter device, and there is a difference between these two, and that difference is the fact that this one has round edges and it feels a little bit more, let's say, sharp on the edge where the screen meets the casing. And I'm not gonna talk about that one as much as I'm gonna talk about this one, because this is the one that matters for today. So how I'm using this one, and because we were at technicalities, let me mention that this one has the same chip inside like the iPhone 13 lineup. It's the A15 Bionic chip with a 5nm technology, which is amazing to just talk about it. We went that far and create these small chips that they can basically retain a lot of power, but they're gonna have less energy consumption, which means obviously more cooler for these devices. And let's be honest, not everyone is buying this to use it as a photography mean or videography mean or content creation. Some of the people that are buying this, like my daughter who has one too, is using it for gaming, and having this hot surface all the time when you're gaming, though most of us are using these cases, the slim ones or any other case, and that will definitely help a little bit. Still, to get the device hot all the time, it ruins the battery in time, and it also is uncomfortable. So a Bionic 15, the 5nm technology, also 4GB of RAM, not 6, not 8, not 12, just 4, and I think it's enough, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later when I'm going to show you how I'm editing the photos in. And also the display on it is a True Tone liquid retina display, 500 nits, and that is pretty bright even for bright conditions like here in California. So we have all the bells and whistles, and if you remember, I did a video in the past about my iPad Pro 11 inches that I still have and I'm still using, but very rarely because of this little one. Why? Well, again, because of portability, and because I can do more on this one than I can do on that one, not in terms of power and not in terms of how fast I can do things, but in terms of how easy it is to carry this in my pocket. And I was showing you my back pocket, my pants, it doesn't fit there obviously. When we're talking about usage, this is probably the device that helped me get rid of everything else I used to use. And I'm a big guy, I still use big screens, and I love big screens on my iPhone 12 Pro Max. Though sometimes it's cumbersome to carry this big thing with me. I love the camera features. I love the photos that comes out of it. But these guys became smaller and smaller with the same capabilities, so that's why I'll probably switching. I digress. Let's talk about how I'm using this for editing photos, because that's why you're here. And I am pretty sure that you guys already know that I'm using Lightroom Mobile. If you don't, that is what I'm using. And I'm also using Snapseed from time to time. But today we're gonna use Lightroom Mobile. And I chose 5-6 photos for you to edit today, and make sure that this one is capable of handling what I'm doing with these photos. Now, first and foremost, these photos are from different mediums, from my phone, from the Fujifilm S5 Pro, from my Xe4 as well. So let's see how we can tweak that and if it's doable. And this can be a little bit of an editing video if you want that. But most importantly, I wanted to show you how easily you can edit on this tablet, which will set you back probably around $550. This is the base model, 64 gigabytes, not the top 256. That is mainly the reason that I didn't want to go with all that stuff, because I'm paying a subscription and I have a lot of cloud storage, and I can transfer the photos straight into the cloud storage and then edit them on my iPad. So let's start with this one. This is a portrait of my daughter early in the morning. I don't really enjoy the way it looks because it has a little bit of a lazy eyes or morning eyes, and they're not fully open, but I love the way they look in this beautiful sunrise. And let's start to edit it a little bit. I do have all kinds of presets, and I'm gonna show you, so I'm not passing as a editor and the guy who's not using presets. I do, and I have a lot of downloaded presets from Lightroom CC, Lightroom Mobile. If you don't know how to do that, let me know. And again, I'm gonna make a video. I think I made a shorts about it, and you should watch that. It's very nice, very easy. And we have these presets that we can change, and I'm not super happy with them, but some of them are looking good, like this one, for example. I'm not gonna use it again, but you can find something for your workflow, for the way you want the photos to look, and still getting the look that you want through a preset, or just tweak the preset a little bit. Now, editing, it's fast for me. I'm gonna lower the exposure. As you can tell, the photo is a little bit HDR, though it's a raw photo from my iPhone 12 Pro Max. I'm gonna go in the contrast and try to kill that HDR a little bit, because it looks too HDR in my opinion. Tweak the shadows and the highlights, and if you can tell, it can be very HDR, and I am not into that kind of stuff, so I'm gonna probably be around here. That looks very nice to me, and probably I'm gonna go and tweak the temperature a little bit more to make it a bit warmer, like the morning sunlight. Wow, that looks good. Now let's crop the photo, and I'm gonna crop it probably right here. Yeah, that looks nice. So we crop the photo. It's totally different now, though. Like I said, I don't like the look in her eyes. Looks like she's looking through me, but it's still a nice photo with nice colors, and I chose to edit this for you guys. Now, the new features in the Lightroom Mobile are, and in the Lightroom as well, is that you can mask everything, and you can add masks for everything, like for example the subject, and Lightroom is gonna determine through the AI how and what the subject is and what are the edges, and does pretty good job. You can also tweak this if you want. You can go and subtract from the mask and select a brush, and if you don't like the way it looks on the, let's say here, you don't want that much of masking on these sides, maybe on her shoulders, because for what we're doing that will work better. Also, you can add to the mask if you want. Add to the mask, again, you take the brush, and let's say you want more on this side here. So there you go. This is a rough masking, and after we're doing this, we can go again in the lighting and tweak the exposure only on the mask. And I would love to have a little bit more contrast on her face, maybe lower the highlights a little bit, and raise the whites and get the blacks down. And every time and every moment after you're editing, you can hold the photo and see how it looked before and after. Let me get rid of the masking, and there you go. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. It looks more warmer, more natural, especially for kids and for doing when you're doing portraits. We can also go into effects and raise the texture a little bit and lower the clarity to make it a bit less sharper. And again, before and after. It's a small tweak, but it looks already beautiful. Next one, it's a high dynamic photo that I shot with my daughter and my wife on a walk around here. So let's tweak this one. This is gonna be a little bit harder to tweak, and I'm gonna go lower the exposure a little bit with a bit more contrast. Maybe if I'm going down with the highlights, you can tell that I'm basically ruining this part right here on top. Right here it becomes a little bit yellowish, and I don't like that, so I'm not gonna go all the way with the highlights. Probably around here it's gonna look good. I love the sun star, so that's why I want to keep the sun. That's why I shot it to have the sun star through this, between these two houses here. Raise the shadows a little bit, and this one is the one that you probably will see a difference when I'm gonna do the masking. Again, whites, maybe lower them a little bit, go down with the blacks and create more contrast. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Now let's go in the color, make it a bit warmer because it was sunset, and maybe add a bit of magenta to it to make it look like a sunset. That's beautiful. So I'm not gonna go into colors and tweaking and all that stuff, and you can tell here that I can change the white balance to whatever I want. I can basically put it on cloudy and it's gonna be warmer, or I can just keep it the way I edited it because I like the way it looks. So this is all that I need to do in terms of tweaking the exposure and the colors. Now if I'm going into masking again, select the subject. Look how good Lightroom AI is and how it selected the subject, my daughter and my wife. And maybe I should wanna subtract a little bit using the brush and make it a bit smaller. Let's say probably like this. And then subtract from here because I don't need the water here to be in the mask. And there it is. This is the mask. And now I can make this a little bit brighter and make my subjects a little bit brighter and give them a bit of highlights. And you can see that you can go overboard very fast if you're not paying attention. And I think right here will look good. I know it's gonna look a little bit HDR-ish, but that's how it looks. So this was before and this was after. It looks nice. It looks beautiful, a sunset photo that I really like. I can also go right here in the masking and do a linear gradient and go right here on the bottom and maybe make this a little bit lighter and give it a bit more contrast. Also make it warmer, like the sun hits that side. I know that for some this might look like it is overboard and the photo looked the way it was good, and I didn't have to do all kinds of things, but I love to tweak things a little bit. And this is the photo. This is before, this is the photo before, and this is after. Before and after. I think it looks amazing, and we don't need to do much to it to look amazing. If I wanted to be picky, I can basically choose the hill and heal this side of the image here where there's some cars, and maybe choose, I don't know, something from the house maybe, or maybe just put something from the tree, like it's a bush here. Nonetheless, you can tell that this is not even visible, and it looks like it's an entrance right here, like a driveway. But I'm pretty happy the way it is, even with the cars there. They're not distracting at all in my opinion. So yeah, this is the second one. Let's go to the third one. This is a portrait of my daughter that I shot with, I believe it says unknown camera, 18 megapixel. I think it was the X100T. I don't know, I'm not sure, but nonetheless it might be the 100T. So let's edit this one and another one, and then we're done. So on this one I'm gonna go here, and I don't really like the white balance, so I'm gonna change that first. I'm gonna make it a bit warmer, and as you can tell it's a bit desaturated, so by just raising the vibrance a little bit, maybe the saturation too, it gives it a totally different look from here to here. I don't know what was happening with my white balance, and again, I don't know what I shot with. Might be just a thing that happened because of the metering of the entire scene, and the white balance was on auto. That's why I'm always telling you to use a Kelvin number and use a custom temperature all the time when you're shooting portraits and stuff like that, because the camera is metering, the sensor is metering the entire scene, and because it's too much green or too much red, trying to reduce that and create an average, and we ended up with photos like this. So we did that already, and I'm happy with the white balance. Now I'm gonna raise the exposure just a tiny bit, give it a bit more contrast, also maybe reduce the highlights a tiny bit, and that's it. I'm gonna go into shadows and go down with the shadows. That's pretty good. I don't want to go overboard with the contrast because it's a portrait, and I love to have beautiful fall-offs in shadows and highlights when it comes to portraits. It looks pretty good. Maybe it's a bit too pinkish because of the flowers, so I'm gonna go down a little bit towards green to make it a bit more yellowish. Yeah, I think this one looks good, and I'm gonna again do a subject masking, and you can tell the subject is basically what's in focus, and AI in Lightroom detects exactly what it thinks that it's in focus, and it's your subject. And now I have my daughter's face and the flowers in front, so I can tweak that as well. Maybe come here, reduce the highlights a little bit and the shadows, give it a little bit more exposure, and seems to me it's a bit too yellow. So yeah, this is the before and this is the after. Now the last one that I want to show you is a landscape photo, and this one I shot, I think it was on my phone, the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So this one is probably a not very interesting landscape, but I love the way the layers are stacking together, and I wanted to edit it that way. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna go down with the highlights. See, there is not much of a dynamic range in the iPhone, but it's plenty, and these are raw photos, so that should help a little bit. And probably go with the exposure a little bit more, give it a little bit of contrast. And you can tell the details are amazing. This was the cemetery that I had in a previous video that you guys enjoyed, and it was like a vlog. So if you wanna look for that, go ahead and check it in the playlist. It's a bright day, obviously, so the sensor did a great job. Now with the shadows, I will go probably down a little bit, and maybe the blacks down a little bit, and raise the whites. It looks pretty nice, and let's give it a bit of a curve. I am a big fan of S curves, so I'm gonna let's see, maybe around here. So if I'm raising this up, I'm gonna crush those blacks, and I don't want to do it, not much, but maybe not at all, and just come here somewhere. So let's see, this is before, this is after. It's a bit too bright in my opinion, so I'm gonna lower the exposure a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. Now, when you're doing landscapes, or when I'm doing landscapes, I'm into, you know, tweaking the colors a little bit, because depending on the camera, if I'm shooting with Fujifilm, it's all good. Also with Nikon, because the colors are very true and they have that beautiful turquoise orangey tint already on, or they look a little bit vintage depending on the film simulation that you're using. But when I'm shooting with my phone, I need to tweak them a little bit, and what I like to do is to make the sky a little bit more towards turquoise and desaturate the sky a little bit. And this is how I'm using this iPad mini 2021 to edit my photos. Now, this is not the only way I'm using it. I also use it for consuming media. I'm an avid consumer of YouTube, and also I like to watch Netflix and series and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was long, but I hope it was helpful if you're deciding to buying this as a let's say backup to your computer, or your only computer to edit your photos and videos, to enjoy media, to use it for all kinds of stuff. I also use the pen to draw and jot stuff, and this one allows the second generation pen to basically magnetically charge on the side, just like on the iPad Pro 11 and 12 inches. So that is great. That's all about the iPad mini 2021. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I want you to understand that these videos are a joy for me to make, and I hope that they're helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and if you don't, we have many in the playlist in the description below. And stay focused, my friends, stay techie, and I will definitely see you in a bit.